All right, so let me make sure my microphone is on. Is my mic on? Yeah, it's on. Okay, so this is going to be a very short video because I just said that I was going to go rest because I'm tired. And I am tired, but I can't rest until I say this, until we do this video. I kind of had this dream based on something that my mom was telling me yesterday about waiting. And I want us to all do like a collective experiment. And this is going to be on Patreon. I don't know if I'll release this experiment to the public because we do a lot more on Patreon. And I like to test a lot of things out with you guys first before we take it to the public world. But if you want to join me for this experiment with your type, let's try it out together and see what happens. But I think like this experiment should basically be kind of like waiting to see what happens, if something better will come along, right? So from this point forward, I want you to focus more on new things. I don't want you to like obsess too much about things that are already in place, decisions you've already made. But from this point forward, especially if you are a generator, projector, mostly generator and projector, but you can also be reflector and manifesting generator. I want you to practice this experiment. So I want you to practice whenever you get an idea, a form of inspiration, something that you want to do, say, buy, instead of like going with the first option of that, or instead of like, just taking that idea and running with it, taking that plan and running with it. Like, so if you get like, for generators, anything that's not urgent, guys, okay? If this is like an urgent thing where you need to make a decision, like by all means, you don't have to do it with that thing. But there's going to be certain things like when picking out restaurants, when buying clothes online, when looking for cars, when looking for, it can range. Any decision that you're going to make, I want you to experiment with not going with the first option of that thing. Okay. And waiting to see if something better actually does show up. Like if it's something that does not need you to buy it right on the spot, like if you see a pair of shoes being sold in a store, right? Instead of being like, ooh, I'm going to go buy those shoes right now because I want them, wait until if you can either find the shoes cheaper somewhere else, or the shoes may pop up, or you may see a better pair of shoes. So these are just little experiments that I like to do. I've been doing them with myself for a while, where it's like I'll get an idea to do some type of video, or maybe I'll see something that I want online, or I'll want to buy something. In response, my body's excited, whatever the case may be, and I'll buy it on the spot. I'll get that thing, even though it's not very urgent. I don't need it right then and there. And then, like a few days later or a few weeks later, I'll see that thing pop up cheaper somewhere else, or I'll see one that I like better. And I'm like, if I would have just waited, I could have actually got what I really wanted. So, well, not necessarily, it's not always what I really wanted, but I could have gotten something like closer to what I didn't know I wanted. So, this goes with like weighing out options for anything, like even with people. If you especially if you have like emotional authority, if you get somebody asking you, do you want to do this, that, and the third, do you want to hang out, before you say yes, like weighing out your options to see if like there's another plan that comes along, or even like with reaching out to people, like sometimes like you ruin things by doing something prematurely. Like let's say like you're really trying to hold off on saying something to somebody, reaching out to somebody, and like you want them to reach out first because like let's say it's a situation where you always reach out first and you don't give them a chance to reach out. So you're waiting, they're not reaching out, and you break and you reach out first, and they tell you, "Oh, I was just thinking about you today. I was going to reach out to you." Whether that's true or not is subjective, but I'm saying if they really were going to reach out to you, you get what I'm saying? If you would only just waited a little bit longer, you'd be surprised as to what comes your way. So, just think of if there's any situations in your life where if you only waited a little bit longer before jumping into a job, before committing to a relationship, before buying something, and then something else just as good shows up, or maybe the thing that you really did want shows up in some way a few days later, a few weeks later, even a few months later. And now you're like, I should have just been patient. So this is a test of our patience here. And, projectors and generators can be the ones who are the most impatient because we do have to wait to respond. But also, not even that, we have to also wait to make sure, that's why you have your authority, making sure that it really aligns with what you want to commit to and what you want, or if there is something better. With generators, you're never really supposed to pick the first option of things, not the very, very first option. Usually there's a better option that will come along. You need something to compare something to. So that's why options are always really good for generator types, because you have to be able to compare. If there's nothing to compare it to, obviously it's going to seem like the best choice. But when you really know what you're looking for, you'll be able to compare. You can compare the past to the present, whatever. So let's all do this experiment where with any decisions that we're making that are not extremely urgent, that we don't have to like decide on the spot, that things that we just want, that we don't need, let's all try to see if, like, when we hold off on making a choice right then and there, if something better does come along, and we can be grateful that we didn't choose on the spot because we're not desperate. Okay, desperation is not good in any circumstances, but like if you're a projector or generator, even reflector, it's good for you all to wait. You're supposed to take your time with making decisions because you need to wait a full lunar cycle to see like all the planets moving through your channels, your open centers, to make sure that decisions are actually yours and not somebody else's that you picked up along the way. So this is why it's best to wait. It's good for projectors, generators, manifesting generators, reflectors to wait to, make sure that you don't get frustrated, you don't get bitter, you don't feel unseen and unheard. But also it's good to wait to make sure that you're getting what you really want, right? The quality over quantity. And sometimes getting quality things takes a little more time. And it's kind of like when you're in a rush to buy something and then it goes on sale a week later, So we're going to experiment with these things, and I want you to just keep track of those moments where you actually waited and you got something even better. Or the option opened, there was another option that opened up that was actually more accurate for you. So I want to start this now because I just feel like it would be good practice for the eclipse season. And like you can take this into however long you can do this for the rest of your life. But just let me know. You can come back to this post, update me on what happens, what you figure out, what you find out, what you've noticed about like not doing things on the spot as you think of it, as you see something, get excited, even invitations. Projectors, you need just wait. Like if you get invited to go somewhere, something is extended to you, weigh out your options for the invites and see which one aligns better. Or if you can wait and hold off on one, wait, see if something else comes up. And then if not, obviously you can go with that. But yeah, so let's try it out, see what happens. And you guys let me know how it works for you. Okay.